Hello, welcome to Cat's Got Your Tongue. This is the ultimate podcast for cat lovers all around the world. This podcast is made in association with the charity Cats Protection. My name is Adam Brown and I am the host of this podcast and also a self-confessed cat obsessive and very proud cat dad. I will tell anyone who is willing to listen all about my cat and just how amazing my cat is. In fact, I mean, listen, I know I'm biased, but I do think my cat is quite possibly the cutest cat in the world. There's pictures of her on my Instagram. Honestly, check it out and tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. She's unbelievably cute. And I've had her for, I'm getting towards sort of 5 months-ish, maybe just under 6 months now that I've had her. And she's coming out of her shell a lot more. And if you're a cat owner, you've had cats in your life before, you'll know just how fulfilling that feeling is when your cat decides she wants to just join you and she just jumps onto the bed and wants a little bit of a cuddle. I'm at that stage now. The breakthrough has actually happened and I'm very excited about it. So as I said, this podcast is all about boasting and showing off and talking about our cats and finding out a little bit more about the cats in the world of our celebrity guests. We get to hear all about the cats that are in their lives and exactly why they love cats just as much as we do. So let's get on with it. This is Cat's Got Your Tongue. So each week on Cat's Got Your Tongue, as always, I'm joined by a cat-owning guest to talk about life with their pet or pets and how cats have made their lives better and hopefully in the process learn a little bit more about cats myself. And it's always nice to be joined by someone who is super passionate about cats, and this is exactly what this guest is all about. We've got the brilliant, incredible actor and activist, Evanna Lynch. Evanna, thank you so much for joining us on Cat's Got Your Tongue.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. I mean, this was this was such a no-brainer when I was asked, do you want to do a podcast about cats? I was like, absolutely. Why has nobody done that before? Yes, I'm so happy to be here. And just, excited to talk more about cats and your love for cats. You know how it's like quite a thing, cat men, because men are usually all about dogs. And it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's really nice to see a cat man presenting the show.
Yeah, thanks, Evanna. I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you. Well, if there's ever any doubt, I am well and truly a cat man. I'm just, everything about cats I just absolutely adore. So for me, meeting other people that are super passionate about cats, it's just really exciting for me to find out about sort of their journey with cat ownership and how, for me, I found that getting a cat, I got my first cat 5 years ago, so I'm quite new to the world of cats, weirdly, and obviously I'm making up for lost time now. Having a cat and owning a cat has really impacted my life in a lot of ways. It's changed me as a person. It's made me, I think, a better person. And I'm always intrigued to see how having a cat has impacted people that I speak to. So I suppose it's a good place for us to start really today. Just tell us a bit about your background with cats. Have you always been a cat person? Have you always owned cats? Give us a little bit of an insight.
Yeah, I don't know who I was before cats. Like, I just remember, and all my childhood pictures speak to this, of just like always having a cat under an arm. My family were very, like, we grew up in the countryside. Cats were they would just appear at your door. It was that kind of place. They would just turn up and choose you and you couldn't get them to go away. So we had a little clan, like a flock of cats that just kept growing and growing. But yeah, we always had cats. Just loved them. Like, there's just something really special about them, that they're quiet, and I like that about them. They're serene. They seek peaceful environments. They seek a pleasurable environment too. You know, they're not out there chasing adventure the way dogs are. I mean, they can be, but generally, you know, they just like a nice comfy couch, quiet room. They don't like it when you invite loads of people over, and to be honest, everything about that life just suits me to the ground. I'm like, yes, quiet, cats, books, nobody turning up at my door. That's my dream Sunday.
That's exactly what I'm like. I think that's why I love cats so much, because it's, I don't know, I just find the presence unbelievably relaxing and therapeutic. I find that, I think about, the way that, like, everyone's always 100 mile an hour now with work and just the pressures of everyday life that we all sort of face. I just think that having a cat now is an invaluable kind of resource for me to be able to just have that time just to sort of take it away and have that little moment where I can just relax and just think about nothing other than stroking my cat and listening to it purr.
That's so true. They kind of force you to slow down and rebel against the grind, don't they? Of like having to do the cats just won't have it. They just like things the way they like it, and you have to bend your life around them, I think. And that can be really good when you're in like I do like when you're in a job that is high pressure. It's really good to just because they set the boundaries for you. She just taught me how to say no to people, how not to kind of, yeah, twist myself out of shape trying to please others. Because I'm like, I've got this cat at home and she needs me and I have to keep to a schedule or all hell breaks loose. So, yeah, she's definitely, I hear everything you're saying. Like, she changed my life and she made me grow up, and also just like really provokes a strong maternal instinct. Like, I'm quite a peaceful, easy to get on with person, but if you come from my cat, like dragon lion mother comes out and just, yeah, you don't mess with my cat, you don't criticize my cat.
Yeah, I'm the same. My old cat, that she passed away at the end of last year, and she was semi-long haired. My current cat is as well, but she was semi-long haired, so I had to take her to the groomers quite a lot. And she was called Ruby, my old cat. And I went into this groomers, and the first time I took her there, and she was like, "Oh, where is she then, Ruby Ratbag?" And I was like, "You don't call my cat names." I was like, "Ruby." She was like, "Yeah."
What? That wasn't her name, and they just decided to call it that.
Just added Ratbag into there. She was like, "Oh, she's all right. You know, she's got a right mood." I was like, she's so moody. I'm like going, listen, I can say she's moody, but you're not allowed to say she's moody.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my God.
Honestly, I know they were only saying it jokingly, but part of me was like, yeah, she's perfect. I'll have you know. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like, how dare you?
Never coming back here again.
Yeah, honestly, I was absolutely. I know they only said it in jest, but I, you know, I've not got kids, so I've got nothing to compare it to. So it was kind of like that. My cat is my child, essentially.
Yeah, or if you ever have a cat sitter and they don't, like, they complain, they say, oh, she's a bit of a handful, she's a bit difficult. I'm like, it's a privilege to care for Puff. You should be so lucky.
Yeah, and I'll take that privilege away if you don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so your current situation, because I remember I saw something on your Instagram a while ago, which I kind of think links into what you're saying before about this kind of feeling of how cats, you know, affect you and change your life in a lot of ways. Because I saw a post from a while back on your Insta, and it was basically, you were saying, I think you were in a situation where we had quite a lot of cats at the time, and you were like, you know, they decide they've gone off the different foods, they've just changed their mind on it, and
Yes.
one of my cats has taken a liking to the kitten litter, and it was just chaos, and then you were like, but I've got this real sense of contentment at the same time.
Yes. Okay, so this happened. So I have Puff, who's like my cat. I've had her for almost 12 years now. So she's like the cat. Because I had cats growing up as a kid, but this was my cat. I got her on my own. And then we added another cat into the family. His name's Pablo. He's 2. Lovely, completely different personality, like wild and crazy and just chaos. And then these 2 kittens were born in a bush around the corner from our house, and the people said, oh yeah, we're just gonna call cats home.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, because they're wild, you know, that's really sad to just, they won't be used to humans. So we said, well, we'll just take them in and get them used to humans, and then we'll slowly find a home.
He's never gonna.
No, after 2 days I was like, well, this is it now, isn't it? This is life. But it was, oh my God, like, because yeah, the cats, they all have to eat a separate bowl. They all pee and poo in different places. And yeah, Puff then went a bit nuts and started, because there's like a corn litter where it's like a natural litter, and she started eating the litter that they were going in, and it was so disgusting. And it, like, I couldn't get anything done. But it was gorgeous. It was a gorgeous time. These little blobs just waking you up, and they're just all over your bed. And as a child, like, that was my dream, because we weren't allowed to have our cats to stay in overnight. And you know, you to have a bed of 5 cats. Oh, it was brilliant. But it just became a bit much, and I did want to continue, you know, having a life and a career. So this guy, it was so funny. This guy up the road, his 2 black cats had just passed away a few months ago, and these were 2 black kittens. So they're up the road, like, perfect situation. We can drop in on them. We get updates. But yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, that's that again. I always find that, like, the appearance of, like, cats, when they suddenly just kind of feel like they just drop into your life and they're presented at the right time, I always find Do you know what I mean? Like that,
yes.
for, the guy, like you say, who lives down the road and he's lost 2 black cats and suddenly these 2 cats and it's the perfect timing. And like my cat that I got after my Ruby passed away at the end of last year, and I was kind of really agonising over when was the right time to get another cat. And in the end, I sort of thought, I just can't function without a cat. So it was within 2 weeks. I went to Cats Protection. I was like, listen, what's the point of me being sat at home, being sad, having no cat, and there being cats here that I could actually just adopt and have. So, and I went in and my old cat was a tortoise shell.
Beautiful. Wow.
So tortoise shell and calicos are like my absolute favourites. And she was semi-long haired, and I went into Cats Protection and they had a semi-long haired calico, and she just looked at me and I was like, oh, this is it. Like, I knew straight away.
Oh my God, done.
Yeah. And I just find it's something, I mean, I always feel like there's a like real magical quality about cats, and I do feel like they're there when you need them, when you're at a kind of a certain point in your life, whether that be something that's emotional difficulty or something, you're having mental health problems. I just think that it sounds a bit stupid, but I feel like they just know.
Oh yeah, they're so in tune. I think they've got all these senses we don't know. Like, I think they probably see ghosts and spirits, and that thing they do where they come to the precipice of a door, and if they just don't like somebody there or the energy, they just go, no, I'm gonna go to the spare bedroom instead. And even with Puff, like, I've had that many times where, like, if she wants to be touched, she'll let you know. And she's generally quite, she sleeps a lot of the time, but she does, like, there have been so many times where if I'm really sad, she'll just sit beside me, and it's like she's absorbing, I don't know, like she's transmuting the energy into something, just a little bit of company. And there's no relationship like it. Like, non-people don't get it, because to have a little presence, a little quiet presence, who has their own kind of dignity and their own rhythms, but just they're there through everything. Like, this is my longest relationship for sure. 12 years. We've been to different continents. We've lived all over the place. Been through so many ups and downs throughout life, and like somehow we always have to get up and do the food and do the litter, and that all goes on.
Yeah, so it's amazing to have that. I feel like to have that bond and something that's got that longevity, and it's such a connection that I think until you get a cat, you don't truly understand it. Like, I try and explain this to my friends because, again, a lot of my mates, they are dog kind of guys, which, listen, I like dogs, but I love cats. So it's kind of like they don't quite get it. They're like, yeah, but like sometimes like they'll come around to mine and sometimes my cat won't even appear. Like, she'll just be doing her own thing in another room. She doesn't really like people, like new people. She's not really great because she didn't come from she had quite a difficult start. I got her, obviously she's a rescue, so she'd been mistreated in her early days. So she's quite, apprehensive about new people. But they're like, well, what's the point? Well, I've not even seen your cat. I was like, well, that's the charm of it. I said, I don't necessarily need an animal to be like jumping all over me all the time and pestering me. They're like, oh, all right. Well, and I said, honestly, until you get a cat, you don't quite understand that there is that sort of dignity and that quiet sort of presence, which is very, very calming and relaxing. And for me, I said that's what it is. Like, yeah, all right, okay. They're kind of warming to it now. They've got no choice. If they want to be my friend moving forward, they have to accept it anyway. So, that's the way it is.
Have you found a friend who's a good cat sitter?
Yeah, do you know what's great? Oh, on my street, there's a really, really lovely couple who actually are full-time pet sitters, which is it's so lucky. So, like, they can literally just pop in whenever, which is amazing. So, and she's great as well because she'll send me like little video updates and little messages, and she'll almost like do it in character sometimes. So she'll like send him and told me that she's really missing you. And I'm like, I appreciate that. I really appreciate you. Like, this is
a fiction that you're writing just for me, but thank you.
Yeah, I really like the fact you've gone the extra mile there and created a little narrative around it. So yeah. I mean, so is it just the one cat at the minute that you've got, Evanna?
No, 2. Got Puff and Pablo.
Yeah, of course, yeah, Pablo as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was a rescue. Now, that was the thing, because as I say, I come from the countryside where cats just turn up at your door. I didn't know you have to because I live in London now, you have to go and seek them out. And it's a tricky thing because I didn't know the whole thing about adopt, don't shop when I got Puff. I just wanted a Persian cat. I didn't really, and now obviously I'm like, oh, that's kind of dodge. I don't want to support that. I want to adopt cats. But then, no, it was I'd already worked with a lady who runs this place called the Ark Sanctuary, and she just devotes her whole life to cats. And she was very mysterious about where she was because she said otherwise people just drop cats on her doorstep
Yeah,
in
of course.
boxes. Like she just can't get away from it. So I was like, yeah, cool. We'll come to you. We'll get a cat. And it was like in Birmingham. So it was like a real pilgrimage. I had to drive like 2.5 hours to get this kitten. But yeah, he was so worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the whole sort of, like I say, adopt, don't shop, and rescuing cats. It's obviously something that I've learned a lot about since working closely with Cats Protection, and some of the stories. Even I go to my local cat centre near where I'm based, in Manchester, and you see, I mean, for me, I love going there anyway because it's just a chance for me to just basically interact with cats. And also, I get a few perks to let me go and see the kittens, which is just ridiculous. Like, there's like a secret door.
Oh, that's like a heavenly experience.
Yeah, there's like, well, Adam, go on, do you want to go in this door and let these kittens in here? And I'm like, if you let me in there, I'm never going to want to leave. Like, I'll just move in. So honestly, it's just amazing. But you see the amazing work they do. And like you say, sometimes it's an educational thing. I wasn't aware of it. If you don't know, like, the process of how to go about adopting a cat, then it's completely new. Like my first cat, she was a rescue, but she was a failed foster. So we ended up like fostering her, and then it was meant to be a week's trial. And then after a day, I was like, well, obviously we're keeping her. There's no way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but you're right. Like people don't know. And I didn't understand this because I knew that, okay, obviously you don't go to a breeder and just order a cat like on demand. But I kind of thought, well, if a cat already exists, so that was the thing. I was doing that silly thing of, when you're sad, like, like some people do online shopping. I would just do cat browsing. And then I saw her photo and I was like, that's just the most glorious being I've ever seen. And I can just drive down and pick her up. And I think she was like $300, like, because she is a posh cat, but I didn't, and I just thought she already exists, so what's the problem? And it took me a while to get my head around this, because that, like, if you are, she is a purebred cat, and even if she's already been born, if you buy her, that's creating, the owners see that that's a business. There's a demand for it. They will keep breeding them. And I just didn't understand that. So yeah, now I do. And now I see with Pablo, like, for one thing, non-purebred animals are just so much healthier. Like they really are. He's so athletic. He's just, they don't have, and Puff, she's 12 now, she hasn't got her sight, her hearing, like they really do struggle. So I see how unethical it is, even though I'm like, she is such a pure weird little angel. I love her. I would not trade her for the world. It's cruel what they do to make them.
Well, that's it though. I think for me, every day I'm learning new things about cats and their behaviour, and actually trying, endeavouring to be the best cat owner that I can be. And I think the key thing is that no one gets it perfect. Do you know what I mean? And I think there's so many like variables, and there's so many different things that are different in people's lives. So, I always think to myself, as long as you just do whatever you can do to try and make your cat's life the best it possibly can be. And let's face it, as cat owners, we do that. And my God, the amount of money that I'll spend on my cat is insane.
Oh, really? What's the most extravagant thing you'd buy for your cat?
All right, Evanna, let me tell you. I mean, every year I'll be throwing a birthday party for my cat every year, making a cake for her. She's got every toy. She's got this. She's got a cat tree that's not actually a cat tree. It's almost like it's basically a bespoke piece of furniture. It's basically a bookshelf. It's more like a cat house than a bookshelf. So it's got like a little scratch post in it, and but again, she doesn't use it.
Yeah.
So spent all this money.
She just wants a box.
Yeah, she just looked at him as just to say like, yeah, that's not that impressive, mate, and just kind of walks off. So yeah, but obviously every toy, about 5 different beds that she doesn't use, and just the classic thing that you do as a cat owner, and spoil your cat, and then ultimately they don't seem to be that interested in it. Plus also, her food. She's very particular about her food. I don't know if Puff and Pablo are like that. Yeah, They think, and again, she'll suddenly go off different foods. And one of the things she loves at the moment is those, it's in the lollipops that the cats are having. Have you seen those?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, you don't mean those little tubes that they give
No,
them?
oh god, oh she's obsessed with them. Yeah,
Oh,
she
yeah,
loves
yeah,
them.
yeah.
They're like the little yogurts. They're like remember
Yeah,
fruit,
yeah,
like
the vet
fruits.
put-
Yeah, do you remember
yeah.
them? They're like them. So she loves them, but there's these little I think they're called purr pops or something, and they just you like a little lollipop, and they just like munch them, and yeah, she's obsessed with them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so yeah, she's such a spoilt little princess, but yeah, she's so worth it.
And is your cat an only cat?
Yeah. So obviously, when my other cat passed away, I replaced it. I just got one at the moment. I'd love to get more, but I'm always apprehensive about how the two cats would get on. I don't know how the dynamic is with your cats.
Well, so as I said, Puff is blind and deaf, so it took her a really long time, and I'm not joking, to actually realize there was another cat. Like she hadn't, like I remember introducing him. I was so excited for them to, and she was just, So, but now he kind of like whaps her in the face, like he does, like he wrestles her, and she doesn't like that. Every now and then they'll sit down and he'll start licking her, and she likes that, and then it turns violent and she hates it. So he's just still way too playful for her. She's in a different phase of life, you know.
Yeah. So when you communicate, obviously when you talk to your cats, I don't know about you, but I'm very like, I'm like a different person, to be honest with you. I'm a bit like, I have this like voice that I don't realise that I'm doing, but I'm just like, I'll go high pitched. I'm like, talk to my cat like she's a baby. And do you know what? When it was pointed out to me that I do that by friends, at first then I was like, oh, well, I'm going to stop doing that because it's stupid. And now I'm like, nah, do you know what? I'm just going to do it. Like, I don't care. Like, it's weirder for me to speak to her in my actual voice. Like, if I went in and was like, morning, you're right, it'd be odd to me. So instead I'm like, the princess is here, oh my God. And I'd pick her up and cuddle her and yeah.
But that's so important because they read tone, don't they? They
This
don't
is
really
it,
understand words, but they're reading the energy. So if you're speaking in a little high frequency and they feel your love, then that's their language.
Do you communicate in a different way for like, Puff and Pablo? Do you have like different kind of vibes and different tones that they sort of tend to respond to?
Well, so as again, Puff can't hear, so it's like about you have to squat down and you have to have her smell your hand. So she smells you and then she knows and then you can pick her up. So that's her way of communicating. And it's been really interesting to see how their other senses are more heightened. The sniffing, and she is sensitive to touch, and she does not like if you put a bag down in her normal route, no, that won't do it. Like changes the whole world, and she'll just turn in circles for about 10 minutes. And then Pablo, no, he's just the most easiest cat. Like, I don't know how to. There's nothing like she's the most demanding, and then he's just I've never even seen him poop. He goes somewhere out the back garden. Don't know where it is. I mean, one of our neighbors must hate us, but like, I don't know. But they do have a lot of nicknames. You know, the nicknames evolve over time.
Yeah.
And his is like really, unfortunately, like a bad word because it kind of, I don't know, it just like progressed into that. And it was my partner who gave him that name, and I was just like, you cannot call him that. But it stuck.
Yeah. So have you got any other nicknames that we can reveal?
Let me think.
And listen, I know that they can be ridiculous, but listen, this is a safe space to share it. So honestly, because my cat has absolutely ludicrous nicknames, so don't worry about it.
Now, I do have to be a little bit careful because so many of my passwords are my cat's weird iterations of the nicknames.
But they're going, just add one on the end of that. And we'll
Yeah, exactly. But like, I mean, her name is funny. When I got her, I wanted to call her something like sensible, but they said her color was lilac, and I just thought, oh, it's just a little lilac Puff. And so she's just Puff. Again, yeah, I'm trying to think of the ones I don't use as a... They're just silly names like Puff, Fizz Puff, Puffington, Lord Puffington. One of my friends calls her Lord Puffington. What is she? Just like everything. I don't. Yeah, this is dangerous territory because these are genuinely my passwords.
And it can change as well. They evolve over time. Like my old cat Ruby was Ruby, then Rubes, and then I typed Rubes into when I was messaging about her, and it auto corrected to Tubes. So then I started calling her Tubes, and then that became and like, if someone doesn't know and they come to my house and they go, what are you talking about? I'm like, that's her name. He's like, I thought she's called Ruby. And like Cinnamon now is like Sin, the Sinner, Sinny Chin Chin. Like there's all kinds of ridiculous like iterations of her name. So basically I'll call her everything apart from her actual name.
Yeah.
Right, Evanna, we're just going to take a break just for a second. We're going to be right back on Cat's Got Your Tongue. We're going to speak to Nikki from Cats Protection. So if you've ever had any questions about cats that you want answered, Nikki is going to be here in just a second. We'll be right back on Cat's Got Your Tongue. Welcome back to Cat's Got Your Tongue. My name's Adam Brown. Now, every episode, of course, we answer questions about cats. We try and learn a little bit more about cats and the behaviour, and just generally try and be better cat owners where we possibly can be. There's always things we can learn about cats and the world of cats. We've still got the brilliant Evanna Lynch with us on Cat's Got Your Tongue.
Hello.
And we are joined by Nikki as well, cat behaviourist from Cats Protection.
Hi.
And just before we actually started this podcast today, I was asking Nikki about a problem that I might have found with my cat. So Nikki is the person, the go-to person, if you want to find out anything about cats. And I've asked you some strange questions over the years, haven't I, Nikki, to be fair, about my cat?
There are no strange questions. It's a safe place, Adam.
This is it. I know. I'm like, Nikki, can I just check? And she's like, go on, what now? So, Evanna, this is a great opportunity, really. Has there ever been anything that you'd like to know about, you know, the way that your cats behave, or just generally about cats, that has always fascinated you?
Oh my God, I have so many questions, but I don't even know where to start. I guess I'll ask one that would be quite maybe useful to my life now with my cats, which is, like, how do you discourage a cat from doing, like, say, for example, Puff is an only child, as in she grew up with an abundance of food whenever she wanted, so she eats like that. Whereas Pablo grew up with siblings, so he sticks his head in everyone's bowl. And that's the thing. He'll eat her food and she'll just go, oh, I'll just come back later when there's more food, you know, and not actually fight for herself. So, like, is it even possible to train them out of that? Is that a silly question?
No, so it's not a silly question. It's also one that loads of our listeners will be thinking the same thing of, like, yeah, my cats do that too. What can I do about it? Yeah, so you can't really train them out of it. Unfortunately, just being, eating is a part of survival, so they do need to eat. And as you've pointed out, depending on their early experiences, depends on then affects their behaviour later on and how they approach food. But there are some like tricks and tips you can do, and it depends on the individuals involved as to what's going to work best. So like with my previous cats, for example, I used to feed one cat downstairs and one cat upstairs, and that worked enough so that by the time the one went upstairs to try and finish the upstairs cat's food, it had all gone. And the reason I did that was because neither of those cats could cope with the doors being shut, which would be like an obvious solution. But again, I'm sure I'm not alone with having cats that don't like the doors closed. Another one is you can actually get these really clever microchip feeders. So it actually reads the individual cat's microchip and will only open the little door for that particular cat. And that's really helpful.
Oh.
So having the cats split out anyway whilst they're being fed is a good idea, but you can then split them and have microchip cat feeders, and that works particularly well if one cat's ever on like a prescription diet, for example, and only that cat can have it. So that's probably the way forward.
So you can't just be like, no, don't do that. They'll be like, pfft.
Yeah, it doesn't make a difference when it comes to like feeding behaviors and stuff, like I said. So it's like so intrinsically motivating for them that they need to eat, and if they're particularly food motivated to compared to other cats and quite confident with it as well, they will just eat all the food and the other cats will just sort of stand back. So it's about managing the situation, really.
I have another question. Do you mind?
No, go. Honestly, go for it.
So this is more of a controversial one because I follow the organization PETA a lot, and they, they're quite radical animal rights activists. And one of the things they always say is that you have to keep your cat indoors. And as someone who grew up in the countryside, I'm just like, that is cruel. That, like, no, cats are, I've seen cats tearing across fields and climbing trees, and they just seem to love that. And I always had this memory of our cats would go out adventuring, and then they'd come back and they'd be sleepy, and then they would sleep for 10 hours. And I guess I understand what they're saying about, like, it's, yes, you're keeping them safe, but I do also, instinctually, I think you're also depriving them of a natural function. As a behaviorist, what's your view? Like, is not letting a cat outdoors depriving them of something crucial, or can they live happy lives without that?
It's a great question, and also I think quite topical as well, because it comes up regularly, particularly in things like the press. So I fully appreciate that different organisations will have different stances, and particularly because they'll be, driven by different policies or the sort of thing that they might be campaigning for, etc. So at Cats Protection, our particular stance is that we try and home the right cat to the right home. For many cats, that will involve outdoor access, and for some cats, that will be indoor only. And so we do take it on a case-by-case basis. Certainly wouldn't be keen on having like a complete blanket ban on all cats living indoors only, because again, every cat and everyone's scenario is different. And I think this comes into play quite a lot with cats and wildlife, and that kind of argument comes up quite regularly. I'm a huge fan of wildlife as well as cats, and I'm a strong advocate for the fact that you can actually do both well. And you can, the main thing is to increase biodiversity, particularly for insects and things like that. And then with the indoor-only cats, as long as they've got like good enrichment and they've got interactive play sessions and you've got places to get up high and climbing opportunities and things like that, they can lead, a really good life. So there isn't like a sort of one-size-fits-all answer with cats. And that's, like I say, other than I wouldn't be keen on a blanket that every single cat must be kept indoors.
Okay, yeah. So as long as they get to climb and exercise, then they can be fine.
Yeah, and just mental stimulation, things like that.
Yeah, I always think that it's like, say, Nikki, kind of like almost a case by case like situation. I think that really, I always feel like it's whatever suits the owner, as long as you can provide that cat with what it needs. And I think as well, when you've got like organisations kind of making those, sort of sweeping statements or kind of putting what their official stance of it is. I know obviously I've seen before like cat ownership in America as well tends to be because I suppose it's these other threats from other wildlife and, like domestic cats going outside, they're probably at higher risk from being attacked by wildlife that we don't have in the UK. So I think there's sometimes a slight different like sort of outlook, isn't there, between maybe even across different countries.
That's true, yeah.
Any other questions you want, Evanna, whilst we've got Nikki here?
Well, how do you know for sure when your cat's happy? Beyond purrs.
Well, yeah, so purring is an interesting one. And definitely don't take this the wrong way, but they don't always purr when they're happy. They mostly purr when they're happy, but it's all about context. So if your cat's, like kneading its paws and like, giving you blinking eyes and things like that and purring and you're stroking and it's great, then they're having a great time. But we do see cats purring sometimes if they've been in like a road traffic accident, for example, in vet practice. So they can purr in pain. There's lots of different theories behind it. But anyway, back to your question about how can you tell? So slow blinking is a great one. It's just a great sign of trust. The fact that they choose to come up to you and fuss you, particularly when it's outside of like just being fed, but other times choosing to come and be up to you. Oh, and like head bunting, which is the proper name for when they kind of headbutt you and they like, rub all over you, choosing to spend time with you. The tail up greeting, where it's sort of like curved at the tip and they're like, hello. It was a lovely, friendly greeting. And kneading their paws, particularly when they're sort of like on your lap, kneading their paws, dribbling and having a great time. And then you can tell the cat's happy.
Okay, cool. No, I do something like because Puff, as I say, she's been with me for 12 years, and sometimes I just go, like, are you happy? Like, you look into her eyes, and you're like, are you living the best life? Are you bored? And I do wonder, like, what are they thinking? What's going on in there? It's got to be something. I guess they're just moment to moment.
They are moment to moment, but you're asking all the right questions, and that's the same questions we'd want every cat owner to ask themselves: is are they having a good time? Are they bored? Or what else could I be doing? Is there any tweaks that need to be done? And then just to meet their cat needs. So, and we've got lots more information on our website, by the way, so lots of videos on how to meet cats' needs and what sorts of things make cats happy.
Okay, one more, and I swear I'll give it over back to you, Adam.
It's fine,
this
honestly.
is so nice. Do cats have a sense of time? So, and this is such a source of stress for me. If I'm out a bit longer during the day than I intended to be, I'm like, oh my God, my cat will be like, hey, it's been 8, well, I would never leave them 8 hours, but like, it's been a time. Do they know time passing? Or is it just, oh, they're not here now. They're not here now. Now they're here.
So I do think they have a sense of time, and that's why loads of owners like have cats that they can always run their clock by their cat, because the cat will sort of be like, right, it's time for food, or it's time for this. Obviously, they're not looking at the clock themselves, but they're using other cues such as light and things like that to be able to differentiate what part of the day it is and what the usual routine is. And they're very much creatures of habit, and they love their routines. So they raise the routine more than anything else, to be honest. Some cats will be highly adaptable and variable, though, as to how well they tolerate their owners being missing. So some cats probably couldn't care less and will happily sleep their 16 hours a day. So people really don't need to worry when they're going off to work. And then other cats will be a bit more, perhaps, you know, not that they're more bonded, but they might be more affected by their owner's absence.
So it is. You're not being an irrational, crazy cat lady when you say, I gotta get home to my cat. No, because they know. They're like feeling it. That's really good to know.
Yeah, and also because it depends on that cat's expectation levels and I guess everything else they've got going on in their life. So some cats, like I say, they're so busy, they're like, oh, nice for you to show up and I'm cool with that. But others will be like, where have you been?
Evanna, we could keep you talking about cats all day, but listen, we will let you go. Before we let you go, there's one question that we always ask our guests on Cat's Got Your Tongue, and that is, what is the best thing about owning a cat?
I think it's similar to what we talked about earlier, of how like they force me to slow down and enjoy the moment. I think cats just have this beautiful way of luxuriating, you know? Like if there's a patch of sunlight on the floor, they'll go to it and they'll go, sun, I'm just going to lie here for an hour. And I feel like they give me permission to do that. I feel like we are wired to be like, what's next? What's next? Go, go, go. You know, like always kind of thinking of that to-do list. And cats don't care about that. And but they have that, you know, that je ne sais quoi. They just, they luxuriate in these beautiful moments throughout the day. And they just make me stop and be there with them. Yeah.
Amazing. Evanna, thank you so much for joining us. We've absolutely loved having you on, and it's been great to find out more about your cats, and also just to see your passion and enthusiasm about, you know, cats. And yeah, it's just great to meet more people that are just as obsessed with cats as we are. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming on.
Yeah, and thank you for creating a space. I mean, both with Cats Protection, but also with the podcast to, you know, geek out about these animals, and again, where you feel normal for being a little bit overprotective and caring of them, because so many people just go, oh, cats don't need people, they're independent, and that's actually not true at all. So thank you very much for this conversation.
You're welcome.
Thanks so much, Evanna. It's been so great to have you on. And thanks, Nikki, as always, for sharing your wisdom about cats and teaching us a little bit more about the world of cats, because there's so much still to learn. That's just about it for this episode of Cat's Got Your Tongue. Cat's Got Your Tongue is made in association with the charity Cats Protection. Thank you for listening as always. Remember to hit subscribe so you don't miss our next episode. You can find us wherever you listen to your podcast, or you can watch us on YouTube as well. And don't forget, if you've got any questions about cats, your cats, or just world of cats in general, to be featured in future episodes, you can give us a shout. You can get in touch by emailing pod@cats.org.uk, or you can leave us a voice note on WhatsApp on 07824 551076. Don't forget, spread the word. Tell your friends who love cats all about us. Share the podcast. Give us a review. And we'll see you next time on Cat's Got Your Tongue. Cats Protection Lifeline is a specialist cat fostering service for anyone experiencing domestic abuse. Many refuges are unable to accept pets, but this free and confidential Lifeline service means cats can be cared for by a dedicated volunteer fosterer until their families are safe and ready to be with them again. You can find out more at cats.org.uk.